right? Tight end to me wasn't a question. I think you added monster pieces there, but those weren't questions that I had coming into the draft. This was a question I had coming into the draft, and I think this is the best pick that the Bears made the entire day. Looking at Shemar Turner before we get into this third day 3 here. Shemar Turner rounded out day 2 for the Chicago Bears here because they did end up moving on from their 4th round pick. And listen, to me, this is Javon Dexter. And you're adding more depth. And why I say that is when you look at Shemar Turner went from a penetrating style system to a 2-gap system. He did not play well in the 2-gap system. When he was in the penetrating style system, that is when he looked best. A lot of the weaknesses that pop up with Shemar Turner have to do with decision-making in the gap scheme. Decision-making on, okay, which gap do I need to hit? How do I need to go? It took him too long to think about it. And there's times where he picks the wrong gap. There's times where, now I will say, right, there's other weaknesses that are going to have to be coached up here. But I think the upside of this guy, when he did pick the right gap, when he did know what he was looking at, he was extremely explosive. He's got one of those, like, what do they say, like a quick twitch first step. He gets off quick. Like, the one thing I'm not worried about with him going into a penetrating style system, which Dennis Allen is going to have him playing, is where Javon Dexter is like, okay, he's kind of slow getting off of the ball. He's got to like adjust his brain. Shemar Turner, I don't think ever adjusted to a 2-gap system. And so to me, when I see him in this Bears style, I think he fits best as a 3 technique in a 1-gap 4-3. I think his game is like, dare I say, a young Sheldon Richardson. I'll go with a young Sheldon Richardson on that. He's quick. He's aggressive. He's an absolute wrecking ball off of the ball. And I think for the Bears, as an interior pass rush specialist, is probably where he starts out this season. But he's going to be good at that job, right? Which makes sense because we just added Grady Jarrett. Dio Dangbo is going to be in there. Andrew Billings is going to be in there. Javon Dexter is going to be in there. Right now, I don't need you to come in here and be a, immediate, you got to be the best player to ever be the guy on the field. What I need you right now to be is somebody who, when I bring you in pass rush downs, you're able to push the pocket backwards and force the offensive lineman into the lap of the quarterback. That's what he can do. And I think it's going to be so beneficial to see him at an NFL level in a system that fits kind of what his game is versus what we saw in his college game, which is why I believe you saw the most lack of production. There's just too many times where he's thinking. And that, I think, ended up being his biggest problem.
Yeah, no, I really love this pick. I love Shemar Turner at this level because, again, after addressing the interior and the trenches on the other side, you addressed trenches again, which is where our weakness was the past year. And as you mentioned, we have a embarrassment of riches now on the interior. And so you don't need this guy to come in as much as I love him. I love his violent playing style. I love his aggressiveness. He's very violent. I love the way that, he continues to go after the quarterback. It mentions that he even plays past the whistle as far as some of his traits, some of his strengths. He compared to Nnamdi Madubuike. It used to be Justin Madubuike because I keep thinking Justin, but Nnamdi Madubuike. And if you think about how Nnamdi started with the Ravens, wasn't necessarily the best statistical guy, but you saw the potential. And then he's put it all together this past couple of seasons. He had 6.5 sacks from the interior this past season, 21 tackles, 1 forced fumble. He was a force. And now he's probably one of the better names and up-and-coming names in the NFL. If you want to get that sort of production and potential, I love that, especially learning behind a Grady Jarrett who's been there, done that, and behind a Billings, Javon Dexter, as you mentioned, Dio Dangbo. Like that is exactly the right environment that you want for Shemar Turner to be coming into because he can learn, he can take it easy when it comes to the amount of snaps he's probably going to be in each game. And so that's what I look at as far as like his upside, his development, is that he's not going to come right in, as you mentioned, and have to play every single snap and expect to be that guy right away. But you can see the potential there for him to be special when he puts it all together. And again, as I've mentioned and I preached over and over, the pairing with the coaching staff is what I think is really going to allow a lot of these players to maximize their potential. When you put them with, a Dennis Allen, who has been there and done that and has been connected to some of the better names in the NFL, as you mentioned, Khalil Mack, I think that that's where you're going to feel really exciting as far as his potential and where he can tap into, where he can better his weaknesses. And so I give this grade an A. I give him an A as far as Shemar Turner, because I think ultimately he will be a very good player on the Bears.
Yeah, listen, I think that he fits what the Bears want to do. And, I'll speak to it. I don't know if I go A. I think this is I'll go a B, maybe even B minus. I think he's going to be a good player, but it's just, there is you still got to see it, right? The production in college just is not elite. And so you still got to see it at the NFL level. But I do believe when I watch it, right, I could be looking at this in a year and say that he's an A pick, because like I said, he's got that get off when he knows where he's going, when he knows what hole to hit, when he knows what gap he needs to be in, which he's going to know what gap he needs to be in because we're running a penetrating style system here. So he's just got to go. He doesn't have to think about it. He just has to go. I think he's got great get off. I think he gets all the way. I think he does a great job being aggressive, and he pushes the pocket, man. That's what you want to see. Let us know how you guys feel about day one and day two.